In this daily drop, we're going to talk about boom placement in small to no crew situations. So let's go. Okay, so new day and a short audio episode here. I do want to disclaim that I am neither Curtis Judd in knowledge of audio or in height. He's amazing. I know him. I'll put a link to his channel, but I did want to talk about boom mic placement and a couple of other things to think about in small to no crew situations. Now, first of all, I'm using a lavalier mic today. Most lavalier microphones are omnidirectional. They're picking up in all directions. So I could turn this mic upside down. In fact, it might help with plosives, but it's pointed up today. And now over here, I have some what we would traditionally call shotgun microphones. A little bit of a misnomer because we have different polar patterns that microphones have, and I'll also put a link to different polar patterns, or the most common ones that you'll see. And the most common that we'll see in what we call shotgun microphones is, and most of these, well, all of the mics I'm talking about right here are condenser microphones, so they pick up really large frequency ranges, are supercardioids. So that's probably the most popular. And if you click on the link and you take a look at that polar pattern, you'll see that cardioid meaning a heart shape. Think of it three-dimensionally, and you have I'm not going to say a very narrow, you have a pretty narrow pickup here in the front, and then when you're completely sort of between this front pickup here, this lobe, and the back one, then there's really nothing being picked up. And then this back here, sometimes we call the tail. This can be problematic sometimes because it will pick up audio from behind the microphone. But supercardioid mics are very directional, and they're used on film and television a lot. This is another supercardioid mic, a different model. This one, if you take a look on the sides, this has nothing to do with the pickup of the mic. Let's see if it actually shows you that. This is actually rejection. You have your axis here, and when it's being picked up on axis right here, that's really where your pickup is. And again, supercardioid. And then this last microphone here, this is the NT55 from RØDE. This one actually has capsules that you can interchange. So this has not a supercardioid or hypercardioid, which is another pattern. In fact, when we talk about a true shotgun microphone, we're talking about something low bar / shotgun pickup. It's very, very narrow in the front, very narrow in the back, the tail, and there's actually lobes on the side where it can pick up some audio. But cardioid is interesting because it truly is a heart shape, and it has very little pickup in the back. It doesn't really have a lobe here. So it's a wider pickup in the front than supercardioid, but it is, it's got the advantage of not having that back pickup. So this can be great sometimes for interiors, for interviews, because you're not picking up as much of what's happening maybe from an HVAC system, so on and so forth. And because of a wider pickup, it can sometimes work well between two people as well. All right, so let's get back to that on axis, off axis. So you have on axis, think about a laser beam coming out of the front of the microphone. And the tendency when you're miking somebody is to point that axis and just be completely on axis with the person's mouth. Well, the problem with that is that when the person starts to move, which people do when they're talking, and they move to the right and left and down and up, you're going to start to see dips in your audio levels, in your waveforms, and you're going to have to adjust those over time. So if you think about the pattern itself, you have on axis, everything else in this lobe is off axis, but if you're picking up within this lobe and you point your microphone, let's say here, to the same place or around the same place that the lavalier mic is, around the sternum, or you're pointing it somewhere up here, then when the person is going left, right, up, down, they're within the lobe, you might be losing some frequencies, but your audio levels are going to be much, much more consistent. And that's going to help you a lot in production. So make sure that when you're positioning your microphone, that you're pointing it about here as opposed to right here, because you're going to see those dips happen all of the time, especially when you're booming a mic in production. All right, hopefully that was helpful. Don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.